Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode 121 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. And we have got another very special guest from one of the most beautiful parts of the world, North Queensland, joining us tonight. But before I introduce our special guest, let's just welcome the two co-hosts, the two of the best things that happen to me every single week. We've got Rossi in Sydney, and we've got Braggy in Adelaide. How are we, boys?
I'm very well. I can't get used to the mirror thing. I'm good, Curly.
and I'm very well too, Curly.
It's all
not used to the morning episodes.
Yeah. This is a Saturday morning episode because hopefully our listeners know that I'll be away running the Berlin and Chicago marathons. And then Fantastic. I think Rossi disappears after that for a world domination thing. He hasn't really told us the in-depths of that. I think it's a bit of a secret mission, but it's about a world domination. So hopefully he'll tell us all about that when he gets back, Rossi. Hey, so
yes. I may even do some stories from Japan. Which is where we're heading.
So at least now we know it's Japan that they're dominating. So anyway, so we're doing a Saturday morning session, and we really do thank Tammy for giving up her Saturday morning to come and chat with us. And our special guest, of course, is Tammy Moxon. She's been described as a modern innovator in traditional country music styles, and she comes from that beautiful place we know as Townsville. How are you, Tammy? Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me. Hi.
Tammy, I usually start the question off with, because we like to get to know you and we want to know how everything started for you. So, the first time music became a thing for you, the first time you realized, oh, shit, that's music and that's what I want to do.
Well, I first started singing when I was about 4. So the realization I wanted to be a singer was I was about 3. I saw, as we were talking before the podcast, we were at the Charters Towers Country Music Festival, and Dad had won the songwriters comp. So usually for that, you just go on stage for the final and you sing your song. And so I was about 3. I saw Dad singing, and I got out of my mum's clutches and ran for the stage. It was a big stage back then. Ran for the stage, said, I've got to help my daddy, and tried to get up on the stage, and Mum's trying to get me off the stage. And it was an interesting experience for my mum, but it was definitely a defining moment for me.
So your first thing was you crashed the stage. That's the first. That's awesome.
This 3-year-old was trying to climb on.
Yeah.
So that was when I realized I wanted to sing, and then I was like, I want to sing in the next Charters Towers. So actually, Charters Towers is a big thing for me because I was teaching at the age of 23. I hadn't quite got my degree yet, so I was, but they were so desperate for kindy teachers that they employed me. So I was kind of studying whilst teaching, kindy teaching, and I wasn't quite sure if it was something I wanted to do. I was starting to feel just not feel like myself, and so I was like, because I hadn't sung for a very, very long time. And I was like, I might compete again as an adult. It was the first time I competed as an adult. And I was like, see if I'm any good and whether I can try and just do gigs on the side until I figure out what I want to do. That was 9 years ago, and I'm doing it full time. So that was another defining moment for me. So it all happens around the Charters Towers Country Music Festival for some reason.
Does that still... You go, Ross.
Sorry. Yeah, so you kind of parked it, but you obviously you must have dabbled all the way through, yeah, because it seems like it was so deeply embedded in your psyche.
Yeah, it was like from about 4 to 12, and then I started to, I hit adolescence, and I was becoming more self-conscious, and I was going into high school, and back then country wasn't very popular.
Mhm.
So it was I was copying a bit of teasing at school. So I was like, no, I'm going
As
to pretend
they
I
do.
don't sing at all. And I did Road to Tamworth when I was 17. So I did that,
Yeah.
and then
Just
and then
did that.
I did that, and then I I was like, nah, try and find a real job. And so I've been doing a non-real job for a while now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And it's I'm glad I had that experience to see what it was like to have that real job, and to have that I know I keep doing that, but
That point of comparison. The point of
Yeah.
comparison. You know what you don't want to do.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I love children and everything, but it's a lot of work, and and it's a big job for teachers.
Oh man, you guys are heroes to me. That's unbelievable. I don't know how you do it.
I've got teachers in my family. It is hard.
And I was dealing with kinder kids, so I can't imagine in primary school, and higher
or
up,
high school. Yeah.
or high school, yeah.
Townsville's a funny. It's like I'm just thinking about the country scene, like Townsville. It's a funny. It's a big town, kind of isolated, I guess, because it's kind of a long way from nowhere, and it's got that out to the west. You've got that lovely country, like Charters Towers, Ewan, with all this, country music is huge out that way. But it's also got the army barracks there, which is more like rock or heavy metal sort of guys and things. I see why you would have been, at school. Sometimes you would get teased about country, but it's a big part of Townsville. And that is the Charters Towers Country Music Festival. It's still as big as it used to. I remember it was a massive thing.
I think they're trying to get it back to how it was. I heard there were more stages than the one that for a while there they did do the one stage, but I think they're trying to get it back to how it was with the 4 stages. But yeah, back in the day it was big. I don't know why it's kind of scaled down, because country music is a lot more popular now than it is back in Charters Towers heyday. So it surprises me a little bit, but maybe that popularity will help generate, help it get back on its feet, back to its former glory. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like COVID and a whole bunch of different things have really killed a lot of those festivals, and the micro festivals and the medium to large festivals. So they've all been hurting, and people are reluctant to go out. They don't want to commit in advance. It's really hard for promoters to have a crack at this sort of thing too, right? Because they don't want to do their money, because once they do their money, they never get it back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think festivals people are trying to go back to the festivals now, because COVID, was such a big, it impacted a lot of professions, and especially musicians, and people are are more scared to go out on their own, try and do ticket sales. So it's safer to do a festival. You know what I mean? Like it's at least you get them all in one place, and you pretty much put all your money into one into one weekend, and just hope people will buy tickets. I know they did a festival. Sorry,
musicians were first out and last back, weren't they? Yeah,
that's right.
So there's a real scene coming out of Townsville at the moment. So Ben Penner, Josie comes out of Townsville. I think Laura Frank was Charters Towers as well. Oh, it wasn't, maybe not Laura, but one of the other ladies that we've spoken to.
Rosie?
Rosie?
Oh, yeah, Josie.
Yeah.
Josie. Yeah, everyone seems to be from Charters Towers or Townsville, as far as I can tell.
Oh, Billy, yeah.
Billy Rose.
Billy Rose.
That's it.
Yeah, we've had a few.
Yeah. So there seems to be this. Is that something that's just? Do you get to collaborate with these people, or do you feed off each other, or?
Not so much collaborate, because usually we're working on the same days in different places. But like Josie and I we got to do a show together about about a month or two ago, where we did a ticketed show together. So when we can, it's great. We try to. There's a lot of support here for creating events where we can actually share our own music, because a lot of us are also cover artists. Like we also do cover gigs, and that's
how you eat.
You've got to pay the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we're given the opportunity to sing our own stuff, Townsville's good in that regard, because we're very supportive of each other, and we understand how far away we are from a lot of other,
big cities.
Exactly. We are far away, and we do kind of have that disadvantage. Luckily, social media kind of, makes that narrower. But it's nice up here. They try and create events where we can sing our own stuff.
But I guess there is a bit of that, is that by having a local scene, the standard, you can tell the standard is just as high there as it is anywhere else, right? By having a local scene, you kind of building each other up, and you get your profile locally, and it just means that you've got more confidence because you've actually done the work when you go to that next level too.
Yeah, that's correct.
When you take it with you, you take that confidence that comes through, all of those sort of things.
Yeah, it's nice to have that support system as well. Like, it's nice to not have that competitive edge. Like there's competition there, obviously, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels quite supportive, and you need that in this industry. You need that.
I think there should be much more of it, to be honest.
Yeah,
because you're not all competing for the same thing. You're all competing for different things.
Yeah.
And do you write your?
We provide. Sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah, and the more supportive we are, the more people will come through. You know what I mean? Like it's, there's a space for everyone, I reckon, and it's nice to have that up here.
So do you write all your own songs?
Yeah, well, every song I've recorded on,
which is a lot, by the way. Yeah, like you're very prolific.
Oh, thank you.
Although, like that. I mean, I just went through your 13 songs on that first album, 2016, and there's 12. That's a lot of songwriting, and there's probably other ones in between there. So you seem like you're a hard worker.
I should say one on the first album Dad wrote, Just a Thought Away. That's
okay.
Yeah, but I've either written or co-written the rest of the song. Yeah.
Apparently, your dad writes a good song, I heard.
Yeah, he writes a good song. Yeah, you're right. He's an amazing lyricist. He's very good, and usually how the songwriting I guess process happens with me is I write the song, and if I'm stuck, I go to Dad.
Yeah, that's handy. Dad. That's handy.
So we don't usually, although Sapphire Heart, which will be on the new album whenever that comes out, we actually did sit down and actually write that song. So that was a first for us, because usually it ends up in arguments.
Is Dad an honest critic? Is he?
Yeah,
He'll say no, Tammy, that's shit, or
he would never.
He's not that hard.
That.
No, I know. Yeah, I understand that. I have a daughter as well, and I could never say that too.
Where he's a lot more diplomatic than what he used to be with his with his feedback. But I think now he just wants the best. Like now, especially when I was teaching, he was like, "Why are you doing this? Be a singer, please be a singer." And it's so bizarre because a lot of families.
When are you going to give up your job? When are you going to give up your job and go and play music? For God's sake!
So he was really. I love it. He was. I think that shift, that time in my life, I think his reaction to what I was doing kind of shifted as well, because he wanted this for me. He wanted me to be a singer, and he's been so supportive. Like the first 3 years, I was doing music full time, and I was a dependent on them. It wasn't until probably the third year of doing it full time that I was able to live on my own. So they are extremely supportive. My parents, both mum and dad. Dad drives me everywhere, pretty much, although he's doing a bit less of it because he's getting a bit older. But he's there, he's showing his support whenever he can, and I'm very lucky to have that.
He's like your road manager.
He is. Yeah. He is. And like we do ridiculous, like some of the things we do are so ridiculous. Like when we went to Birdsville, I think our luck finally caught up with us. We hit 3 kangaroos and we done the car. But we've done night driving so many times because I'm like one time I had to go to Cloncurry, finish at 2 a.m. and get to the casino by I think it was like 2 o'clock start the next day. Like we've done silly things. Yeah. And he's been there. He's been my roadie. He's like, yep, we can do it. We can do it. And so, he's, yeah. If you can imagine that, he's there doing the crazy with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's he's reliving the youth again too, I guess. Yeah,
I think so. I think he's because this is kind of his dream as well, and I think he's enjoying the ride. You know what I mean? Like he's an incredible singer. He can stop a room. Like on Father's Day at Birdsville, he had the whole room looking at him. Like
awesome.
He's incredible.
Curly, should I do the first part?
Yes.
The alarm was.
Yeah, I was a little bit late setting it, so that's all good. So it's time for Braggies. Who am I?
The pressure is on. So when did the other people get it? Was it the first one or the third one?
Normally the first couple of lines.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. They don't get it. I usually try and make it hard enough so you don't get it until the end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But Rossi is he's autistic when it comes to music history. So he normally gets it really quickly.
Yeah.
Curly on the other hand,
never gets it.
I was born in Massachusetts, in Boston, on March the 12th, 1948. In 1951, my family moved to Chapel Hill. I attended the Chapel Hill Primary School and took cello lessons before learning guitar in 1960. My guitar style was influenced by hymns and carols and the music of Woody Guthrie, and my technique was derived from cello training and from experimenting on my sister Kate's keyboard. On a family holiday, I met Danny Korchmar, an aspiring teenage guitarist from New York, and together we began playing blues and folk music. I wrote my first song on guitar at 14 and continued to learn the instrument effortlessly. By the summer of 63, Danny and I were playing coffee houses around Chapel Hill and Martha's Vineyard. I played electric guitar in my brother's band for a while in 1964, even cutting a single with my song Cha Cha Blues on the B-side. I moved back to Massachusetts to further my education, but started suffering from depression. I slept 20 hours a day and my grades collapsed. In late 1965, I was committed to a psychiatric hospital where I was treated with antipsychotic medication and where the organized days began to give me a sense of time and structure.
Mm.
He was born the same year as my dad.
Okay. Oh, it's all right. We'll move on. There's lots more to come.
Yep.
Rossi hasn't got this.
No, I haven't got it.
Oh,
good.
Fraggie's always happy when we don't get it. So,
I am.
So Tammy, let's talk about the latest song called Comfy. Where did that come from and what's it all about?
That was written during the 3-month shutdown. So after we found out, we had JobKeeper, we could kind of breathe. I was, enjoying the break, I guess. And I needed something to kind of lift my spirits. So I just felt like writing a happy song. I was on the couch. I had my happy little island just watching TV, and I was like, I'm comfy right now. And I thought, oh, that's a nice premise for a song. And I was thinking, it'd be nice, it's that feeling of comfiness, this feeling of contentment, I guess, in your life is always something you strive for, especially for me, because I deal with a lot of stuff, I've gone through, depression and all that sort of thing. So it was a nice feeling. I wanted to kind of share it with the world. So that's where Comfy came from. And it's just about, being in a relationship where you can come home and they're the best part of your day, and you can just sit down, watch TV and relax and not have to put on airs and graces. You don't have to step on eggshells, and it's that kind of feeling. And a lot of people think, being comfortable in a relationship especially is not a good thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
Right.
I think it's quite a lovely thing to feel, especially when when you've got anxiety and stuff. It's a lovely thing to feel. It's quite, okay, I can breathe. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the kind of that was the theme I was trying to,
So
go to the world.
Burning desire, leapt in a fire and left in the fire to burn. And playing with fire, the player's desire is to see how bad you yearn. The warmth of a love, dreamers dream of a lack of lately cold. You swept in low and behold, you were fresh air, needed to breathe the warm sunshine from my feet. Home to me every day, every hour, every minute. Love's coffee when you're in it. You were tight, yeah, you set me free. Hell, you're the best thing that happened to me. Home to me every day, every hour, every minute. Love's coffee when you're in it. This beating heart was left in the dark, and you drew the curtains back. You let the light in, let healing begin. I felt strength I thought I never had. I felt so safe, I felt so warm. Mostly I felt love made me feel more than enough. You were fresh air, I needed to breathe the warm sunshine from my feet. Home to me every day, every hour, every minute. Love's coffee when you're in it. You were tight, yeah, you set me free. Hell, you're the best thing that happened to me. Home to me every day, every hour, every minute.
Yes, because the other song you've got out, and we'll get to that, I guess, later, is Fighting Chance.
Yeah.
It seemed like that's like breakup, and Comfy's like makeup.
I
don't know
so
if
Fighting
that's like-
Chance, it wasn't a breakup. Fighting Chance is probably more what was going on at the time. Comfy was more so me trying to talk about a relationship that I wanted at the time. But I was comfy in that time, knowing that, okay, my job's okay, like I can breathe, and I kind of turned into a love song. But Fighting Chance at the time, like, this is going to be broadcast.
You don't have to. You don't have to
It's
go
just
there.
us. It's just us, though. It's just us here.
You don't have to go there if you don't want.
At
It's
the
fine.
time, no, we were just on eggshells a lot.
Okay.
And so I think Comfy was kind of me trying to, my life always seems to imitate my art. So I guess I was trying to do that, force that somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
But Fighting Chance was probably more so on the nail of what was actually going on. Yeah.
Okay.
So it must be hard for you when you write stuff and you collaborate and you get your dad to check stuff, that he kind of has a bit of an insight into how you're traveling too, doesn't he?
With the songwriting.
Yeah.
No, he's honestly, he knows pretty much everything that's going on in my life. He's my confidant. He's the one I ring when I feel like I'm falling apart. And he's a big support, and so's Mum. They both are, and and also Dad's my dad. He's always going to take my calls, so I know.
He has to.
Yeah.
It's part of the contract, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm an only daughter, so there's that. So yeah.
Yeah, that gets you up the list too. On the speed dial, you'd be like number one, number two.
Yeah, probably in the phone book as number 1 or something. So
Yeah.
It's just put in her.
I know how your dad feels. I have exactly the same relationship with my daughter.
Oh, that's lovely. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's really slick production on this. I'm just comparing the last 2 albums and this song. It's really slick, and I really like the this. It's a different arrangement. This song seems to be a little bit different, a little bit more. Maybe I'll say poppy than your other stuff. I really like the end of this where it goes to the lead break and then there's a breakdown. It's just different than your other songs, I feel. Do you reckon? Am I right? Do you think that as well?
Yeah. No, I've had interesting reactions to my albums because especially with this one, I try to write albums where I try and make each song sound different to the next. Taylor Swift is a master of that. Like she's not afraid to go outside the box, and that's what I try and do. I try and, because country is so vast, like there are so many genres within the one genre, and I want to explore them all. Like I want to try and write songs with that sound. I want to write songs that sound Americana, sound poppy, sound bluegrassy, sound folksy. Like I like to do that in an album. Billy Joel's another one that I can think of. His songs never seem to sound the same. So that's how I approach an album. That's how when I get an album, I don't want each song to sound the same. I want to go on a journey. So that's how I approach it. Some producers don't. The good thing about Shane is he gets it, which is nice. Some people, they're like, this album's too what's the word?
Disparate, diverse.
Yeah, too diverse. Yeah. So it's not for everyone, but that's how I try and write an album the way that I want to listen to it. Like if I heard an album, I want it to be different. So that's how I approach it. So yeah, it's a bit different, but hopefully some people will appreciate it.
No, I love it. I love it. I just think it's this. Yeah, it's I read in your bio you really like Alison Krauss, and I can really hear that for sure. And I mean, I love her. I love that last thing she did with Robert Plant. It's just both the albums. They were 2 of my favorite albums. So I love that style of country, which is kind of, I don't even know what style of country that is, but
bluegrass. With Rob Plant, I don't know. Probably Americana, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of rockabilly to it too. It's
I just think it's interesting to hear how many young performers do touch on Taylor Swift, and she's so iconic. And I often say young people throw people in the world I come from, because I did come from a little bit more of a rock and roll background. They're very scathing and derisive of her, and I won't cop it, because as a woman who's writing her own songs, performing her own stuff, being directly honest, playing stuff, has been doing it since she was really young. Like she deserves everything she's got. It's the same thing. But I'm interested in 2 things. One is that, I was listening to a friend of ours who's put out a number of country hits, and we're listening to it from a production point of view, because we're just talking about what impact a producer has on a record. And if we're listening to it, we're hearing that pop styling come through in the country stuff. Like breakdowns, like particular vocal filters, all that sort of stuff, which was never really country. And people kind of sometimes go, that's not country, you can't do that. That's one thing I was thinking. But the other thing is, you talk about writing an album. Do you think about it as a body of work complete, or do you just get a whole bunch of songs and go, I think I've got enough?
Yeah, I do. The first one.
Yeah.
I do, because I haven't written a song since the last song I wrote for this album, because I write for an album, and I try and make it different, sound different to the next one, whatever song I'm writing. I just try and make sure I'm happy with them before I send them off for approval, for the producer to approve. So the thing is, I'm a bit like I used to write as a therapy, and that's a good thing, I guess. But now I don't know whether I've just fallen out of that habit or whether I'm happier now. But I haven't written a song since the last song I wrote for this current coming album. Does that make sense? Because I'm too scared that if I write a song, I'm going to get excited about it and it's not going to come out for like another 3-4 years.
Because the next song's always the favorite child too.
And the last song is always the one you want to share to everybody. So like I do have a book of ideas so I don't forget, and I do record melodies when I feel like I've hit a winner, but I try not to finish them until I have an album or I have something to work towards for that reason.
That's pretty unique. Like I've never, that's a unique way of doing it. I like it. I think it's
especially nowadays, Rossi, where everyone's just, and we have this discussion time and time again, just churning it out song by song. But writing for an album is quite actually refreshing. So
it is.
If we can break this wave of heartbreak, step away from the same old dance, find the strength to talk this over, we'll have a fighting chance. While this silence rages between us, tunnel from the love light to the dark, love that cannot bend and broken. Is this really worth us falling apart? We can break this wave of heartbreak, step away from the same old dance, find the strength to talk this over. We had holding each other. Now this battlefield of us holding our ground. Why can't we meet in the middle? Why be too damn proud to lay our weapons down? If we can.
Hey, it's time for part 2.
Okay, when we left last time on Who Am I?
Previously on Breakies Who Am I?
Yeah, our person was in a mental institution.
Yeah.
In early 1966, I checked myself out of hospital, and Danny and I moved to New York to form a band. We recruited Joel O'Brien on drums and my childhood friend Zach Weisner on bass, and called ourselves the Flying Machine. We played songs that I had written about my time in hospital, and by the summer of '66, we were performing regularly at the Night Owl Cafe in Greenwich Village. Unfortunately, I was associating with a motley group of people and began using heroin. It wasn't long before the band broke up and I developed a full-blown addiction. My father rescued me, took me back home, and I spent 6 months getting treatment and making a tentative recovery. I decided to try being a solo act with a change of scenery. In late 1967, funded by a small family inheritance, I moved to London. And after recording some demos in Soho, my friend gave me my next big break. He used his association with folk act Peter and Gordon to connect me with Peter Asher, the head of A&R at the Beatles' newly formed label, Apple Records. My luck was changing. I reckon Rossi would have it by now, but maybe not.
Is this a country artist?
No. You know how country's a big genre? Tammy, you know how country's a big genre? I'm going to say country folk.
Oh.
I'm not supposed to give clues, though. You tricked me. No idea. I thought that last little reference might have twigged it in.
Did any of you guys get it?
No, not yet.
That's good. You'll get it the next one. Don't worry.
Tammy, I'm nowhere near it, so you don't even need to ask me. Hey, let's talk about like it's intriguing the way you write, and it's almost like you're using a disruptionist type style to write songs that are different and that sort of flow yet for an album, and I find that quite intriguing. But one of the I'll share a quick aspect of it. Like when we have artists coming on, I'll normally just grab their Spotify and just put it on the way to work and just let the music sort of just do its thing on me. And I'm listening to you and I'm saying to myself, and I'm not a country music like fan or specialist, but I'm thinking this is really traditional. And then one song just sort of came on that just shook me and thought, where'd this one come? I actually had to check to see that Spotify hadn't done what Spotify does every now and again and slide someone else in. And then I was talking with Braggy before we came live, and he started talking about this song that he really loved. And then I went and found it, and it was the same song. So Braggy, I'll let you take over from here.
Dance with the Devil.
Oh,
I love that song. I think that's yeah. And I don't know if you've listened to that, Rossi, but it's the tempo is so slow, which is really hard to do. Like people think that slow would be easy, but playing slow and well and on time and perfect is really hard. And it's got that swampy kind of feel, which is right in my genre. So
yeah.
How did that one come? Just talk about that song.
Dance with the. Oh, I think I was watching Aladdin or something, and there was.
I love it when a song is not what you expect.
And
I love it.
It was. I don't know. The bad guy was singing a song, and it was like, oh, I need a villain kind of song, you know. And Peter Sheree Peters helped me with the lyrics of it because again, it was a song where I'd written the melody and I'd written probably the first and second verse, but I didn't know where to go in the chorus. I didn't know what to do lyrically in the chorus. So Peter helped me with that. And so I was like, help me, you know, like what I do with that. Help me. So she helped me finish it. And it's people definitely gravitate towards it because it's I think it's designed. We designed it so it would lure you in. It's like come into my
Isn't it funny? Like I love because I'm thinking, what is this song about? It's really like I'm thinking it's about someone like, you know, dabbling in drugs or dancing with the devil.
It's whatever you want it to be.
I know it is. I know.
Don't tell anyone.
Honestly,
don't tell anyone what it's
like,
about.
I don't think.
But I just love that.
But I was singing about a guy. But you know, you can make. I told her it was about alcohol, but I didn't quite want to tell her what was going on in my life. So, so we just made it about anything really.
The sweeping of satin is swirling the floor. They sway to the rhythm of Sweet Sailor Moore. And there you stay waiting, luring me in. I dance with the devil again. The curtains are drawing, the chandeliers dim. The music is soaring, a heavenly hymn. I know there's no ending, and yet I begin to dance with the devil again. I will run from you, now I'll be free of you, till my demons break it. sweet taste of liquor on my lips he burns. Desire for a lover, I long to return into the
It's interesting. I mentioned the braggy. To me, it gives the there's a bit of Nick Cave in there, just the way that it sort of
for sure.
which is really
I think
quite unique.
I was listening to a lot of Civil Wars at the time as well, so I think there was a bit of that as well. So yeah, even
I just love that. I saw this interview with Dave Grohl where he was talking about the song "Learning to Fly," and one of his fans said, "Oh, I can't believe you just really captured how I'm feeling, but I'm trying to spread my wings." And he goes, "No, that song's actually about me trying to learn to fly, fly a plane." And then I asked you about this song. You go, "Yeah, I was watching Aladdin." It's really good.
No, that was like the Aladdin part was more so about me writing a song in a minor key and
I get it, but it's just I love the way they come about. It's great. It's great.
Yeah,
So
it's a bit more of an innocent background.
With your writing, does it? I love this question. I usually ask it as well. Is there a certain time or a certain space or time when you're most creative, or does it just come randomly?
Yeah, it comes in. It ebbs and flows. Like sometimes I'm able to resist the urge to write. Other times I can't. It depends also what I'm going through. Like there was with the Drive Me Sane album, I was living on my own for most of that. So I was kind of left to my own devices. I didn't really have anyone to interact with, so I just wrote a lot. And that's where, songs like Fantasy Drug and a lot of the other songs came from that time. So it just depends what's going on in my life. Like I say, I try to avoid it, but I shouldn't. I should be writing a song a day or,
No.
But I want to, I don't know. I like to write songs that aren't unfinished. Like when I write a song, I want to make sure it's done. And I'll write, lyrics and stuff and be like, okay, I'm going to depart. Departmentalize? Is that the word? And just like
compartmentalize.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I'm going to put you on the shelf, and I know that I'm putting you on the shelf. I'm not putting you on the shelf because I can't finish you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
like to leave things, half done.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I go to co-writers to be like, help me finish this song because I need to, calm down. I need it to be done to, to, I guess, not have that anxiety, because otherwise you just think about it and it just keeps you awake. And especially like when you have a creative mind, it just doesn't want to shut down. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You just to get to that stage is really disciplined too, though. It's extraordinary discipline to make sure that you finish stuff, because I've got about 10,000 million unfinished things.
Oh,
yeah.
I do too. Like when it comes to like dishes and stuff, it's not so. That's fine. But when it comes to those sorts of things, because you're fixating on it, like tunnel vision. The tunnel vision just becomes too intense.
Wake up in the morning and that song you're working on, they're in your head straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how you achieve, is by using that energy, because not everyone has that energy. But if you use that drive to do it, you're miles past where other people, like I say, get bored and give up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Creativity is a weird thing. I mean, people think it's all just one side of the brain. The artists, they're often the thing, but there's so much discipline that you need from the other side of the brain to actually finish something and get it done. There's a lot of hard work in there.
Absolutely. So it's let's talk about hard work. It's hard work. It's part 3.
Hey, part 3.
Nice segue.
Yeah,
I try.
Oh, he's good.
Okay. He'd just been put in touch with the A&R manager of the Beatles at their newly formed Apple Records. I gave it away. It's a he. I recorded what would become my first album at Trident Studios. At the same time, the Beatles were recording the White Album. Paul McCartney and George Harrison guested on Carolina in My Mind. while something in the way she moves provided the lyrical starting point for Harrison's classic Something. During the sessions, I fell back into my drug habit and returned to New York, where I was hospitalized. Meanwhile, Apple released my debut album, which was received with critical acclaim. My second album, Sweet Baby James, was released in December 1969 and raced to the top of the charts, buoyed by the classic single Fire and Rain. Other hits like You've Got a Friend and How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You made me a household name. One of the great singer-songwriters with a voice as smooth as honey. My name is... Yay!
Tammy did it.
James Taylor. Wow.
I'm sure
some people have they have a tough start, don't they?
Yeah,
that surprises you about him, though, doesn't it? Because he seems so serene in his material, right?
Yeah, he does seem serene. That surprises me. About
I think that's the therapy in songwriting that we talk about a lot on this show. You know.
Do you remember I spoke to you about the James Taylor tuning?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got this slightly sweetened guitar tuning where you used a couple of cents off. You need a very accurate guitar tuner, but you tune some of the strings a couple of cents off. Like each note is like 400, like an A's 440. You might tune the G to 4. Yeah, the A
gives you a little chorusy sort of effect, or
it just gives you. And there's this specific James Taylor tuning that he's. I didn't know he was tied up with Apple. That's really interesting. So I do learn from Braggy all the time.
In that song, Carolina, in my mind, he talks. There's one line where he goes, "And a holy host of others gathered around me," and that's him. Like freaking out because the Beatles are there when he's recording his first album. It's like
that's unreal.
That is an awesome. Who am I, Braggy? I even got that one, but these guests are getting too clever for you, mate. So they're all starting to get it. And
that's good.
I'm glad I know who James Taylor is.
No, I know. Sometimes because I'm old, I tend to gravitate towards older artists.
He wrote that what's it called, Bartender Blues, and that's Dad's go-to song.
There you go.
So, I think who's it?
I'm pretty sure your dad would know his catalog back to front.
Yeah. So that's how I know about James. And also, I think he's done a couple of duets with Alison
the Dixie Chicks and the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or the Chicks. Sorry,
the Chicks. We like the Chicks.
Yep. I love the Chicks.
The Chicks.
Hey, so Tammy. Sorry, Rossi, you go.
I was just going to ask Tammy. So live gigging. How much do you like doing that? And what do you got coming up?
I love it. I discovered during COVID what it was like to not gig, and I can tell you I am quite happy to gig for the rest of my life as long as my voice keeps going. I've got what have I got? For the AFL Grand Final, we're going to William Creek, so it's like almost like a satellite city. Apparently, the station is bigger than like Belgium or something, like this this station we're going to. I don't know what kind of station it is, but apparently people from all different areas will come together to this one place for this music festival, and the star is the AFL Grand Final. And then there's a music festival wrapped around that, so I'm doing that with Revive the Regions, and I'm actually flying to Adelaide and driving up, so that's William Creek. And we've got the Airlie Beach Music Festival in November. Yes. So I've got that. Yeah, and looks like I'm going to Tamworth. So we're going to try and organise.
January, Tamworth. Nice and hot.
Yeah. It'll only be for a couple of days I'll be there, but I kind of want to be there because, it's Tamworth it's a staple. So I'm going to try and make it turn into a bit of a tour and try and do gigs on the way down and on the way back up again. So
that would be awesome.
Petrol money gigs.
Is it with you just solo with the band? Do you have the band that goes with you, or
no? It would just be me. That's how I usually perform anyway. So I'm kind of a one-man band. So I've got the song, I've got the guitar, and I sing. So it's got me. It's all right, I think.
Yeah.
I hope so. It definitely.
You prefer it that way, or would you like to have a band?
Well, when I was in Birdsville, I had a band, and we were literally improvising on stage. Like we didn't know what we were doing. It was just me trying to lead the band and hoping the band knew knew the song and the songs, and that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun that night because the band's incredible. Like they can just improvise on the spot. They're great. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoy it because I very rarely get to play with the band. Sometimes I like to play my own. It just depends on whether the musicians can improvise, because I do improvise a lot, and because you're trying to go with the ebb and flow of the crowd. Like you're trying to you're reading, you don't have a set list, you're reading the crowd. So
flying without a net.
Sorry,
flying without a net.
Flying without a net.
It's the one.
Yeah.
I guess also you're going to need a good. Sorry, but you're going to need a good band anyway. With like you mentioned before, the diversity of your songs.
Yeah,
they're also different, like you said. So.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to playing with them again at the William Creek, because it's the same lineup as Birdsville. So, almost the same lineup. So, I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully, I'll get to play some more of my own songs with them. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
and if they remember the material from last time.
Yeah. That's handy. At least we had the practice run.
We rehearsed last year. Come on.
Yeah. It could
we
give you
rehearsed last month. Remember?
it could give you a whole new arrangement on some songs. So who knows?
That's great.
Tammy, we're coming towards the end of our time together today. It's been awesome getting to know you. Just one last question from me. When's the new album coming out? And I love the fact you're doing albums. So when is the planning for the new album? When does it come out?
Well, I'm trying to bring out singles beforehand, seeing as we're in a streaming culture now. So I'm trying to get with the times. I don't know. I think I gave myself a deadline for June 30th, so I'll be before then. So I'm hoping maybe late May, early June. That's fingers crossed. Everything goes to plan. But I'm just trying to bring out some singles before then, and then bring out the album.
That's actually like old school though. Hey, Rossi.
Is it?
Well, all the old bands would bring out 2 or 3 singles, and then they bring out
the album. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They drop albums nowadays, Braggy. They drop albums.
I drop them.
Oh, okay. Drop. Tammy, when that album comes out, we'll have to get you back on and have another chat and find out some more. But in the meantime, your links will be in our show notes. So if people have enjoyed listening to Tammy during this podcast, highly recommended. It's I'm not quite sure how it's like. It's a fresh little pop twinge on traditional country. So it's quite unique. So give it a listen. It will certainly be something that our listeners should pick up on. So, and of course, your songs will be added to the Unfiltered and Undiscovered playlist, as well as our new little intake called Fresh and Fierce Female Unfiltered. So you're also will be in that playlist. So if people are looking for new music, there's a great way to find some new music. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe wherever you're listening and watching. It really does help us get found, and of course we really appreciate any reviews. They are always welcome, and we just love them. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We've got a website, unfilteredandundiscovered.com. I've mentioned our playlists. Just do a search on Spotify for Unfiltered and Undiscovered, and they will come up. And lyrics from the playlist this week, a little bit smaller than what I have been doing, and it's a song by the Stems, and it's a very simple line. All I had to do was look at you at first sight. Thanks for tuning in to Unfiltered and Undiscovered. Thank you so much for joining us today, this morning, Saturday morning, Tammy. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you. And for everyone else, we will see you all again next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me.
Just say the word and I will die for you. And I'd be a flower if you wanted to. 'Cause I've never met anyone quite like you. I lose my head, my heart starts pounding too. And all I had to do was look at first sight.